Her name is Sarah, going through divorce, moved in with religious mother, looking for advice. All righty.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Right on. You're on air with Noelle, Mandisa, Marissa, Kendall, and Claire. Did I get everybody? Okay.
Yes. Hi, Sarah.
You have a gaggle of people.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
I hope there's not too much background noise. Hi.
Yeah.
So I'm calling because I'm going through a divorce. And
Sorry.
unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of options. In the state of South Carolina, you have to move out. You can't just say, I want a divorce, let's do this. They say, the law says that you have to be separated and not live in the same house for a year.
Holy cats.
Wow.
So, so even though both my husband and I are saying, yeah, let's get a divorce, I have to go live somewhere else. And this
Just to be
is...
sure.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry?
Oh, I said just to be sure.
Well, it's sexist because it requires that that somebody find a place to live, and women are less likely to be able to find that because they tend to have fewer resources. So it's the men who want a divorce are going to have an advantage there, and the woman not so much. So go on. I that's just awful. That's awful.
Yeah. So I didn't have a lot of options. I'm a stay-at-home mother. I have 2 kids, 11 and 9. My 9-year-old is severely autistic, so I can't work. And, I mean, I can go into the details, but basically I can't work. So, so I moved in with my mother. And this, at first, didn't seem like a problem, but then I realized that the whole religious thing, as she's gotten older, she's gotten more weird. Her epistemology is very skewed, and I'm trying to explain to her why I'm parenting the way I am, and she's butting heads against me. But at the same time, she would cry and say, I was such a terrible mother. So it's really odd. And this is going to be really sad to say, but I'm actually considering going back to my husband because of this.
Yeah. Well, that's so hard. That sounds like
totally.
I mean,
yeah, I totally understand.
I didn't say this, but I'm going to say this. Can you just have the state think that you're still at your mother's?
Right. That's obviously something I would have to talk over with my husband.
Yeah.
He's usually kind of a stickler for the rules or whatever.
Yeah.
What? And also he works for the government. So it's kind of like, well, if something gets out, you know, like, for example, he's not opposed to smoking marijuana, for example. However, he won't do it because he thinks somehow they're going to find out. So
has he been affected by the shutdown?
No, he has not.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, but yeah.
So in your situation specifically, like what would you like us to weigh in on?
Well, so we all know that basically I don't know if I can kind of get through to my mom that I should have the final say as my kid's parent. And I don't know if I could affect any compromise with her and be able to stay with her.
Right.
And it's difficult because, I mean, the typical, oh, your child's autistic. Let's take him to Healing Hands, and
Oh, golly.
God will heal him.
Oh.
And I'm trying to explain to her that doesn't work, and
Yeah.
so yeah.
Oh, boy.
Who would like to? Yeah. Okay, Kendall.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
feeling
can
kinda
relate.
lost, so.
What, Sarah?
Well, I just feel kind of lost. Like, and I
Yeah.
have friends to talk to, but they're all kind of like, well, we're here for you, and I'm sorry you're having it. Like they're, I don't know, afraid to give me advice. They're, they want to be supportive, but they don't want to give advice.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. It sounds like a really, really challenging situation. Like, divorce, you've got multiple challenging things all happening at once, and then the religion factor thrown in there. So, Kendall, what were you, I think you were going to start.
Yeah, I just I can definitely relate. My mother is not only religious, but she's also a narcissist. And I'm a single mom. There have been several times where I have had to move back home with her with my son during transition periods, or, I needed to save up money or whatever it was, and we definitely butt heads. And we still, she's constantly questioning me as a mother and making decisions for me, basically, as a parent. And I have to regularly establish I am an adult, I am a mother, I am my son's mother. You don't have a say in this. And I think ultimately what it came down to, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go back to work the last time I lived with her, and that just motivated me even more because it got so bad day after day. I was like, I need out of here. And I wasn't ready. I crashed and burned because I was not ready to move out. I didn't have a savings. I didn't have the money I needed, or wasn't making the money I needed to cover my rent. But I had to, for the well-being of myself and my son. And I think that what ultimately ends up helping with our situation, and sometimes, it falls back, and as a single mom, I do have to rely on my mom a lot because I don't have really anybody else who's willing to give me free childcare when I need to go do something, or, if I'm in a financial crisis, my parents I'm lucky enough to have them be able to help me with some things. And I generally think that she takes me giving her ultimatums pretty seriously. So I don't know what your relationship with your mom is, but if that is something you can do where you say, listen, these are the ground rules, for my family. And if that's not something you can respect, these are deal breakers for me. And you will not have a relationship with your grandchild or with me. And that's super hard to do. It's so much easier said than done. And I don't know, maybe you have had these conversations, but I think it's definitely necessary to you have to let these people know that they do have something to lose. They cannot treat you however they want to treat you.
And also parents, in my experience, once again, because I've had to come out as more than just one thing.
As everything.
As more than just atheists to my parents. Parents tend to project their fears and feelings about you and blame the children for it. So, coming out as polyamorous to me, for my mom, was like, well, we're just worried about how the kids are going to handle it. It's like, no, you're not. What, my kids have an extra parent around? Oh, no, the horror.
Someone else who loves them? Oh, my goodness.
Right. Or when, we came out as transgender, my parents were like, well, we're just worried about the kids. It's like, my kids knew 6 months before you did. They don't care. We explained to them that we're transgender, and they were like, okay, what's for lunch? Like,
yeah.
It's like, if you were actually worried about the kids, then you would know they're fine. It's you who has the problem.
Right. And even now, my mom just decided on her own that she was going to keep my son for an additional night. I was planning on having him here with us today because I don't know. Do you really know this person? I don't really think Silas should be around a stranger. And
Silas might catch the trans.
Yeah, but I mean, why? First of all, I am his mother. I will make that judgment call. And second of all, I I would never put my child in a position that I knew he wasn't safe in.
It's so insulting.
It is so insulting. Well, it's insulting to my judgment.
That's
it's not
what I
about
meant.
you. And it's
No, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
She thinks so little of your judgment to think that you would bring someone potentially harmful into your house with the love of your life.
Yeah, so it's super frustrating. I definitely 100% relate. She just texted me today. She's like, I go, when are you dropping him off? She goes, oh, he wants to stay another night. I'm like, oh, he wants to? Okay.
Oh, boy. Sarah,
just something to bring to you real quick. I have given my mother an ultimatum before. Years ago, when the kids were young, my mom had a problem with prescription pills, and I told her she wasn't welcome.
Mm.
So,
and you know, it is super hard because in a position like maybe like yours, but definitely like mine, I need my mom in a lot of cases, and so we aren't always in positions to break those relationships apart if we want to, you know.
Right. I think, Sarah, you said you have friends that you can talk to and stuff, but I don't know if where you are, if there is a local secular community that you can, link up with that maybe somebody else has been through, a parent pushing religious groups on religious beliefs on your kids, but then also counseling. I don't know if you can get counseling or talk to a counselor about it, but that, especially if it sounds like if your parent is difficult to deal with or, you said her thought processes were kind of, I don't remember exactly what you said. The epistemology was kind of out there. So, I think the secular community can help with as far as the religion part, and the counseling can help as far as like communication techniques, being clear about boundaries and things like that. So those are definitely good resources that might be able to help.
Yeah. Can your husband step in at all? I know it's your mother, but how can he help in this? Is there any way?
I don't know. What
taking the kids on the weekend or something to give you a break?
I forgot to mention, I'm in Florida and my husband is in South Carolina.
Yikes. Okay.
So you had to go, he stayed in your house and you had to move?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because financially we couldn't just get him an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so mother's house is free.
It was,
Okay.
It's easier for him to not move in with his parents or whatever, maybe.
Well, if he moved in with his parents, he'd have to go to Portland, Oregon. And,
Okay.
that he would lose his job.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I know Mandy's experience with that, too, if she wants to chime in.
Oh, yeah, Mandisa.
Hush mouth. Now it's my kid in the background. Yes, it is though. He just asked, was there alcohol in the fridge? And I just told him yes. I would say that it can be, wow. I am very grateful for my in-laws because they are extremely helpful when it comes to the kids. I mean, they only really see them in the summertime, but, I would say that, they're extremely supportive of us and helpful. I would just ask, like, how far are your, future ex-in-laws from you? I mean, I'm not sure if the situation would be any more helpful with them, or if there would be any much more different than it would be with your mother.
Yeah.
But it would
in Portland
definitely. If you and your husband are still, I guess, amicable, then that's going to be very, very important, even after the divorce. That if y'all are still on friendly terms, and that y'all are good co-parents, that's going to make a huge difference. Because, when that time comes that you don't have to rely on your mom anymore, then you'll be able to at least have that good co-parent relationship with him.
And your in-laws. I mean, moving in with your in-laws as a possible
right
gap.
Well, I get along with his mother a lot better than I get along with my mother.
Okay,
that might be.
We're onto something.
Don't be afraid to utilize that resource. Then.
Right.
I mean,
they're her grandkids too.
Yeah.
I never even considered that, but I mean, that would mean me moving to Oregon.
Yeah. That's a big change. I mean, I don't know if there's. Yeah.
It seems like kids have already gone through one move, so I totally get it. Out of chaos, you know. Yeah,
and I don't know if you feel like your mother would be open to, conversations with you about what, what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. I think that's probably the best way to go if you can figure out a way to get through to her. I don't know how difficult she is to,
She doesn't take criticism well. She's also a narcissist.
Right on. Oh, I've been
Hey, are
there.
you my long-lost sister?
Yeah. No, I'm estranged from my mother, so I get that. So, yeah, I know that moving would be hard on the kids, but part of taking care of the kids is taking care of you.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have big problems because you're staying with your mom, and I would personally, if I were, my mother-in-law, they are religious on a mitochondrial level, but I would take them way over my mother to live with. I would probably sooner be homeless than live with my mother, and I mean that quite literally. So, yeah.
And it
I'm
depends
right there with you, Claire.
Yeah.
It depends to the level in which she is affecting your children and your relationship with your children. I had like a straw that broke the camel's back moment where I saw behavior and I said, nope, this is not how this is going to go down. Basically, like my mom called me an idiot to my son. And I said, what did you just say to my son? We're leaving. Because I'm not raising a kid who is going to grow up and go, well, grandma says you're an idiot, And so it depends on what level is it affecting you. Is she just driving you crazy, but she's not going to really have a long-term impact and you can just stick it out? It depends. There's so many different factors that go along with it.
Narcissists can have such a horrible impact on kids.
I'm not sure. She did something the other day, and I don't usually get angry very quickly, but in this instant I did.
Go Mama Bear.
So my son was about to make some toast, and I said, "Oh, you're asking to make toast, And I just was reflecting out loud, and I said, "Well, he didn't used to ask. He used to just get the toast, and him being autistic is very important to foster independence. Very important to his development. But my mom, she, like, under her breath, she said, "Oh, good." And I'm like, "What did you say?" And she said, "Oh, good." And she gave me a sassy smile. And I said, "Well, that's not good because he needs independence." And she said, "Well, I would feel better if he got his violence under control before he used a toaster."
Oh, Lordy.
Not about her.
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh. I'm sure, Kendall, you've been there. Mandisa, I have been there. My mother said outrageous things to my children, and it was a deal breaker for me. That's when my mama bear would come out.
Yeah.
Grandparents think that they have certain rights over children or their children or over us. And it's like, well, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It isn't it isn't even about me all the time.
I think that in a lot of cases, they can't let go of their parent role over us. They cannot see us as now this is the new generation. This is my family. We're still their kids in their eyes. And so they think that since they have control over us still, that by proxy they have it over our children.
That's especially true with narcissists.
Right.
My Elise was explicit that I was hers. She would say this, and she was never going to let me go. And so she felt ownership over me and my children and my sister's children. And my sister's son is autistic, and the damage that she did to the autistic son grandson, because he was different, that alone, I will never forgive her. I get it. I get it. The narcissist is a really tough road to hoe.
I think it's difficult to go from the parent-child relationship to the adult relationship.
Right.
And for me and my mom, she's not a narcissist, but we did have challenges when I was growing up, and we had to do that, and it required distance. It required distance, and it required a lot of processing and communication on both of our parts, and it wouldn't have happened if she wasn't willing to take the steps that she needed to take to acknowledge the things that she did and how they affected me and my brother. And if she hadn't have been able to do that, I don't think we would have been able to repair our relationship, because it's critical that a parent who has a contentious relationship with a child, or I don't want to describe my specific relationship. I want to be more general, but also not diminish it to contentious when we have some more serious issues. But I think it's so important for them to be able to acknowledge and apologize, and for the child to know that, they feel bad about their actions and the way that they impacted that child growing up. So I can imagine that with a narcissist,
that's never going to happen.
It's
with
never
going
to happen.
And
And
that's what sucks, right? Is
so sorry to report that is correct. My mother does not apologize.
Right.
And right. And the shitty thing about narcissists too is that they generally have something to offer that we need, right? Like help, or sometimes my mom can be a riot, and I love drinking with her and having a good time and talking. And then she's the worst person I've ever met in my life the next second. Because if they were all bad, there would be no draw for us to them. But they all have something in them that is either attractive or appealing or necessary for us. And that's what makes it hurt more, right?
And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about that, is just that it requires a lot of stuff. And if you're getting into that field of the narcissism or whatever, like, I just want to make sure that the tie-in is evident, that's what it takes to move into that type of a relationship. And there's just no way.
If a person is incapable of it, then...
Right. Narcissists are perfect, so why would they ever apologize?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I hope this helped some, Sarah.
Yeah.
If nothing else, you're not alone.
Yeah.
And we would love to hear back from you.
Yeah. Give us a call from the Pacific Northwest. When you move out there. Maybe you could visit Kendall. She lives out there.
Yeah, please do.